Ladies and gentlemen, it is the instant reaction show. And this week, it's not the Cowboys reaction show and an Eagles reaction show. Well, it was the Birds versus the Boys in Philadelphia. So you have both of us. But we have something wrong here. So I'm going to flip us since you're watching on YouTube because Aiden's mom would be very mad if we were on the wrong side.
Big time.
Now we are here. K Mess, Aiden, game just ended. It is 11:35 p.m. East Coast time. Game just ended. Eagles win 26-17. Aiden's dancing. I'm actually not freaking out because before we get into anything else, Aiden, I would say this is kind of the exact game that we said it was going to be.
Don't care. You lost. Loser. Loser. You lost. This was the greatest bender
and now your
my
Wi-Fi
entire life. This was the best. We are the best. This is the greatest city in the entire world. No one will ever top it. The atmosphere in this city, no one can top. Stop sending. I don't want to see any other crowd shots in MLB. We already had the best. We got the crowd here. We were as soon as Meek Mill came out and performed Dreams and Nightmares, the game was over. If I would have known that, I would have been way more confident. I was a little bit nervous about this game. When the Phillies won yesterday, I was like, there's just no chance that we're losing today. But we won. I keep dancing on my own. What a weekend. That was awesome.
So I was just scrolling Twitter because, of course, you have to. Well, it's all we do during the game, before the game, after the game. So I'm scrolling Twitter, and I'm going to say one thing here, and this goes out to Cowboys fans everywhere. I've already seen about 4 tweets of this saying, oh, you just beat Cooper Rush. Stop. Because as Cowboys fans, last year when we dropped 51 on the Eagles backups, you weren't saying, well, it was the backups. So you said, whatever, we beat the Eagles. So you can't have it both fucking ways, okay? Cooper Rush was undefeated as a quarterback. There was never a quarterback controversy. There is not one. There never was one. He is the backup. But he had never lost in the NFL. He hadn't thrown an interception all season. So stop with the you just beat Cooper Rush shit, okay? We lost the fucking football game.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy Landon Dickerson down my throat, okay? It was not fun.
Oh, what an all-time quote. So our producers are literally behind the scenes. They're on the couch right next to me right now, Eddie and Vince. We literally said that. We were like, as soon as Collinsworth said that, we were like, that's gonna be a clip. Like
you're like 5.
Something's about to go viral, and we were like
4,
yeah,
3.
We're like, yeah, we're
2.
gonna
it's on Twitter.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. That I think was the key to the game is when we have a healthy offensive line, we are just gonna skull fuck everybody in existence. And
yeah, I mean, look what happened when Lane went out.
Exactly. Yeah. I've never seen somebody just completely change the dynamic of a game. And it's like what?
Tyron Smith for all those years for the Cowboys. As soon as he comes out, game over. He's the same type.
The same thing with Lane. It's just like you can just tell the difference. Like it's an immediate difference. Yep. Also, I felt like we got to a point. So, all right, the Eagles were up 20-0 in the first half. The Cowboys get the field goal late in the half. It got to halftime, and I was just like, it felt like everybody in Philly hit the end of the bender at once. Yep. Like it just felt like we were just like, all right, we have been partying for 72 hours. Like, and it was so hype at the beginning of the game. It was like, all right, the energy levels are on E. No more alcohol can scientifically be consumed.
Kind of need a nap.
Yeah, we were like, all right, we got to go to bed. Like, we got to go to work tomorrow. And it's 10 o'clock, and we've been raging since 4 p.m. on Friday. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, it was that feeling, and I was like, they might come back. I don't have much left in the tank. I obviously played defense 6 inches from the TV. I was playing safety. I was helping the team. I couldn't get there on the Zeke touchdown, even though I was trying. And it just felt like everybody felt the same. Like I got a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
This is the text message I got from Joe Papaleo.
Butthole is tight. I can't wait for that to be out of context once these guys get producing on this.
No, you're right. I thought, it was weird. My wife went to our neighbor's house to watch the game. Gentlemen. Eddie actually bet on the Cowboys in this game.
He was so close to getting kicked out of the house.
I mean,
so close.
I mean, that just shows you how much of a bad gambler Eddie is. But
I went 2 for 3 tonight. I don't hear anything.
I told him before the game, I said either we win by 3 and it's a close game throughout, or we absolutely smoke them like we did the Braves this weekend. And he decided the best route would be to bet Cowboys +7 off of that, which it didn't cover, but he doubled down plus 11 and the over of 37. So he did get 2 out of 3, which would have, he did all right. All right. The producers are out. They got to get home to actually, produce.
So the wife left because she doesn't, which is fine. I enjoyed that very much. I got to sit down and I had 2 TVs. Got to watch baseball and the football game at the same time. Didn't get annoyed by her. She was texting me. I'm like, listen, I don't
know if the Cowboys get,
huh?
You do anything special this weekend?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Happy family reunion.
Do you want to tell a story real quick?
I mean, you could start with the DM that you got if you want.
Perfect. All right. So this is the quick story, and we'll get back into the game. I got a DM, and my phone was on Do Not Disturb, so I didn't see the DM. I just saw it, a notification from your wife. And I was like, okay. So I check it, and
you're like,
and I was like, interesting. And it was just this paragraph, and she was like, hey, I didn't realize it was the same weekend. We were at the Delco Steaks tailgate earlier tonight. It was Eagles Cowboys. The Yankee season's on the line. You're a big Yankees fan. She's like, I'm surprising Kevin. I'm flying his dad in. We're doing a family reunion. I was like, oh no, like this is be a disaster.
Yeah. So I got to consume little to no sports this weekend. I got to watch the Yankees and Notre Dame lose simultaneously Saturday night. That was fun. And then didn't get to go to our tailgate at Delco Steaks, which I was literally like, after she sent that message to you, I was like, I've been talking to them and planning it like for weeks. Like, what do you mean? And then I was like, the party started at 1. I'm like, I'm leaving by 3 to head down. And then I had a couple drinks. She's like, yeah, you're not leaving. I'm like, guess I should have known that was coming.
Yeah. I think we said that, so we were like, I don't know if he's gonna make it. Shout out to Delco Steaks though. Footage will be coming this week. Great tailgate. We were running around the lots. I was slinging cheesesteaks like I was fucking Santa Claus with my
people happy.
They gave me a double. What's up?
People were happy.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was great. I literally had a bag. And I just was slinging it. I was just slinging a bag of cheesesteaks everywhere. These guys were on top of the RV, and I was literally just taking them like a quarterback and throwing them up. And the little kid asked for one, and I'm like, I'll give you one, but you got to throw it up to the RV first. So he's like, hell yeah. This kid just ripped it. And I was like, awesome. Future Heisman winner. The kid was 8 years old. I was like, yes.
That's awesome.
I was like, give me your last name so I can look you up as a Blue Star recruit in about 10 years.
Did you happen to run into a clown whose name might rhyme with aisle?
No, did not.
Good.
No. No, I did not. Great tailgate though. The energy in the city's out of control.
It is
in a great way. Like it's just like you can't lose. And this is the perfect way to describe it. It's how it was after the Super Bowl. Eagles won the Super Bowl. The other teams in the city didn't lose for 3 weeks. We're kind of at that energy level where it just feels right. It feels special. And, like the Eagles are not perfect, but they're 6-0 going into the bye. And just like everything about this just feels right. Like the Phillies are the hot team. The Sixers start this week. Even the Flyers, who it would benefit them to suck, they're 2-0. Like there's something special going on here. And it's just like a really fun time. These past 2 weeks have been, like when the Phillies were good, I was in 8th grade. I was in middle school. I didn't know how to fully appreciate it. I'm just like fully appreciating what this is. Your team doesn't start 6-0 often. Your team doesn't make the NLCS often. You don't get to watch Tyrese Maxey often. Like this is truly awesome.
Yeah. When I saw, so I was in college. I was a senior when the Phillies won the World Series with Joe Papalia. So, if the Yankees are not in it or they're not, the Phillies have always been my second team. So I feel like this team is that team again. I feel like it's that team reincarnated. And when I saw the Phillies at Xfinity Live Saturday night, popping champagne, signing dip cans.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just not good. And then tonight at the Eagles game, they pan to Mike Trout in his usual seat with his Eagles hat on. And how bad is he sitting there like, motherfucker, why don't I play for the Phillies? I'm out here in Anaheim wasting away.
Funny story. So my dad ran into like one of his relatives one time, and after one season, he like brought the whole family together. He's like, I'm looking for like other options. Like, I'm going to leave Anaheim. And then they were like, here's $330 million. And he changed his mind.
He's like, I'll stay.
But I feel like now he's probably like, it's not worth the $330 million. Yeah. Like, I'll never see the playoffs in my life. It could be here. But it's just, the magic is here. And it's just like, even when things start to teeter, I am so used to being on the teeter that like in my mind, I was like, oh, well, I can spend like we were up 20-0. And I was like, we're going to blow this 20-point lead. Like the silver lining. Oh, I have funny tweets lined up. If we blow this 20-point lead, like, haha, I'm so cynical. I'll just tweet that, like, oh, look at Doc Rivers. Like Doc Rivers looking at the Eagles blow a 20-point lead, and it's that Soulja Boy video of him going, they stole my whole flow. Like, and it's like, we're so used to that cynicism of just expecting the worst case scenario to happen like that. And it's just different right now. Like it was 20-10. And I was just like, we need that fuck you drive. And it happened. It was perfect. Like,
especially after once Hurts started getting beaten up, right? He took that one shot when Micah and Sam Williams converged on him. It looked like he could have broke a rib. Like he was definitely beat up. There was a couple.
Did he like,
it looked like,
there were multiple times where we ran the read and he had like the defensive end crashed and he just didn't take it. Like, I don't know.
He took a double shot on that play.
It's so weird. He like was not using his legs as often as we're used to. And I was like, what is going on, man? Like you're giving it to Miles Sanders for a 2-yard loss. And all I see is green if you keep it. The 2-point conversion is the perfect example. Like you're playing like they're stacked up in the middle. And you're like you're handing it to Miles to just get killed in there.
And this Cowboys defense always gets hurt by running quarterbacks. Daniel Jones did it to him this year. Joe Burrow did it to him this year. And those guys don't run like Jalen Hurts runs.
Yeah, just get to the perimeter. I don't know.
But I got to tell you what, that play they ran 3 times to A.J. Brown against Micah was, I mean, their game plan tonight to attack Micah the way they did was perfect. It obviously changed in the second half once Driscoll was out, because then the Cowboys started using Micah a little bit differently. They were just rushing. He was just a rush end at that point. But, I mean, the 2 unsportsmanlike penalties on Dallas tonight, on the one on Micah, just stupid. I get it. You're pumped up. You finally made a play, but just shut the fuck up. And then Trayvon Diggs, I feel like that is going to live in infamy after everything that happened this offseason with him and Eagles fans trashing him. For him to take his helmet off and smash it on the ground on a play that he wasn't even involved in, bro.
You don't understand. All right.
Shut the Twitter back off, because you've been back on for 2 weeks. Just click it back off.
You say that'll live in infamy? It will, because Philadelphia fans will never let it live it down.
Never.
But you can see him in the Eagles end zone throwing a temper tantrum like he's his son, Aidan Diggs' age. Like, we will not ever let that go.
Never.
We will just use it to embarrass him at any. And I didn't even get it. Like, you weren't even part of the play, man. You didn't even get beat. Like, I know you gave up the touchdown. Great play, by the way. You brought up the A.J. Brown play that they were using in the first half. Well, then they use that alteration, like they're going to the outside receiver. Devontae Smith cuts inside. He's standing there by himself. And it's the first time where they didn't get offensive pass interference on a play like that. And that was awesome. That was their statement. I keep saying this, like, this is a winning team because of drives like that. When they face adversity, they say, okay, our turn. We have to take this game over. And they do. And it's always this 8-minute drive where they're just like, we are going to fuck you. Here, I can help. All right, let me give you a visual. All right. So this is the Eagles. And they say, okay, here we go. This is our deck. And they're just like, we're just going to fuck you for 8 minutes straight. And they're just going to take it. And we're just going to say, fuck you. Take it for 8 minutes. And they're just going to run it down your throat. Like Dickerson coming down their throat. And that's that. And they say, we're just going to win because you can't stop it.
We just got kicked off YouTube.
Oh, well, it happens. At least we're not putting it on TikTok. But that's how it goes. We're just like, oh, well, you can't stop it. And I don't know. I thought they should have went to that one series earlier because Driscoll was definitely struggling. But they just, like, they always go to that drive where it's like, yeah, stop it. You can't. It's not very, like, there were some creative plays, like, on that touchdown. But in the large part, it's basically like we're just getting behind our 5, line up your best 5, and we know you're going to skull. We're just going to skull fuck you.
And they basically did, because they had 39 rush attempts and only 15 completions tonight.
Yeah. And
15 for 155 through the air. That's it.
The one thing they've got to figure out that they have not had the past 2 weeks, they cannot take deep shots. They have not been able to do it.
Quez Watkins had 1 catch for 0 yards.
Yeah, like they haven't been able to take the deep shot to him. They really haven't. Even those intermediate routes to AJ Brown, they haven't had.
And I would say my key to this game, when we talked about defensively, was to stop Dallas Goedert. And I mean, they did. It was 2 catches for 22 yards, but it wasn't enough because AJ Brown went 5 for 67. Devontae 5 for 44. They both had touchdowns. They didn't have monster games. It wasn't like Devontae versus Washington, but it didn't have to be.
No,
because of that run game.
I was about to say, it was just like the perfect like team balance, like enough people made plays, and a lot of it is the defense. I would just like, if all of Cowboys Nation, I'm calling all of Cowboys Nation, Jay Tuck, Mike Tag, K Mess, as Eagles fans and Eagles team alike, we would like a formal thank you for ending the quarterback controversy that the other Cowboys fans, not you guys, but the other Cowboys fans on Twitter have created between Cooper Rush and Dak. Because if you watch that game and think Cooper Rush belongs as a starting quarterback in the NFL, you are a Looney Tune.
His poor wife flew all the way there to watch that.
They were showing her and she's nervous during a game. Shut up, Lauren. You know how many times I've been in that position in my life, but I'm not married to anyone on the team. I don't want to hear it. But
18 for 38, 181, 1 touchdown, 3 picks.
Dude,
how about no sacks though?
I know.
No Delco steaks given out.
No, well, I gave out a lot in that.
Tuck was right.
That is so like going into the bye week, 2 things we got to clean up. We got to get more pressure. Brandon Graham getting the pressure forced that 1 pick, but it wasn't enough pressure. And 2, getting the deep shots on offense. So, I'll be fine. Lane is not hurt. Is that the anxiety thing again? They said he didn't need medical attention, but I thought
it was a concussion.
Well, that's what I thought. But
they said he didn't have medical attention on the sideline, but then they said he was out with a concussion. So
okay. All right. That makes, because I didn't know if it was the anxiety thing when they said no medical attention, but if we could get him back after the break, I'll be fine.
And if Hurts is a little banged up, which I'm sure he is, I mean, it's a perfect week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a big believer in bye week towards the end. This is the perfect time. You're 6-0. You're the 1 seed. You're flying high. You can't if they play next week, they're coming out flat. Especially if you play on the road. Like after this weekend, the fans are on fucking 13 out of 10 all weekend. You got Meek performing. Joel Embiid and Joe Biden are hanging out. Like everything going on like that. What a wild combination of people that were at that game. Yeah. Like I would have seen them losing next week to be.
They need to give the Phillies their. How perfect is that too? Like they're on their bye week now, while the Phillies are going to the NLCS.
Yep, I have tickets to the NLCS Game 5 on Sunday because the Eagles aren't playing, and the games are like 2:30. So I'm like,
it's just perfect. Oh.
Yeah,
day playoff baseball.
Oh yeah, perfect. Sundays though, like the 4:00 game on Wednesday would be a little more ideal. So, but yeah, so just like this is the perfect time to get healthy, kind of make some adjustments, and just be happy with where you are, but don't be content. And I think that's like the sentiment that you always see from Jalen Hurts anyway. Is like, let's just take it to another level now.
So from my end, we've talked a lot about the Eagles, Cowboys wise. First thing I'll say is, and I think you'll agree with me on this because you always bring it up. Zeke, I know he didn't have 100 yards, but he had 13 for 81 and the touchdown. Yeah. He does just show up in Philadelphia.
What is it, man? Like he goes back to Zeke at Ohio State. It's insane. Like it drives me insane.
Like runs this year that would be -2 all season. He's ripping off for 6 or 7.
Yes.
Bouncing off people.
I know there's so many times where I'm like, we got great penetration on the runs, and it meant nothing. Like, I'm like, we have 3 guys in the backfield, and this motherfucker has 8 yards on first down. I'm like, what are we doing?
And you could see how, I mean, Pollard had 11 for 44, but I mean, they needed a guy like Zeke tonight, a power runner. You could see Pollard was having issues getting through with guys like Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox and everything in there. Zeke is just bullied. He's a bully ball sometimes, and he got through. So I was happy with that. So did I expect a win? No. And I'm not the guy that's going to say you just beat Cooper Rush, blah, blah, blah. The Eagles are a better team right now, flat out. I expected to go into this game with a loss, which is fine. If they can win the next 2 games, which they should, Lions and Bears at home, go into the bye 6-2.
Oh my!
After week 1, if you told me that, I'd say you're fucking lying. But the thing, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, that I was most, I guess, excited about was the coaching, Mike McCarthy, Dan Quinn, because you were down 20-0. They looked lackluster. They looked like they had no interest. It looked like they were watching Joe Biden and fucking Meek Mill sing Fly Eagles Fly, and they were looking at around like, yeah, they're fine. We don't have a shot. That's how the first half looked. And then it flipped, right? They had that good drive, the touchdown drive. They still didn't look in sync, right? You can't run basically 2-man routes against this type of Eagles defense with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, maybe Noah Brown, right? He had 1 catch for 10 yards. And then the rest is, a rookie and Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot in tight ends who
we couldn't tackle. It was driving me nuts, man.
Ferguson on that touchdown, just like stop and go. I couldn't believe it.
If you can't tackle a tight end from Wisconsin in the league, you're not lasting in the league. It was driving me insane.
But, and I will say, I mean, I think this is the beginning of the end for Dalton Schultz, because if they have 2 guys like Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot, guess what, Dalton, you ain't getting paid here.
For less money, yeah.
But the coaching staff did something at halftime, because I've seen that movie before, and I've seen it many times where this team just lays down and dies, and they didn't. They came back. They were in an earshot of, I don't want to say winning this game, but they got into the game, right? And then the Eagles went on that fuck you drive.
Should I do it again? You need the visual again?
And it happened, and it's okay. But we're not dead yet. That's all I can say. Dak's coming back. We play again Christmas Eve in Dallas. So we shall see. Congratulations. You finally beat the big bad Cowboys. But we'll see.
Listen, we beat you all the time, man. I've seen a few division titles, a few Super Bowl appearances, a few playoff appearances.
Me too. I'm just a little bit older than you. That's all.
True. But, I mean, yeah, like they're in good shape to be 4-2 after the Dak injury. Also, I'm sick of Dak. You know how it's like the time of year where like you're like, all right, I'm gonna vote for one more political commercial and I'm voting for no one.
Yep.
I'm at that point where I'm like, I don't care when Dak comes back. I can't do it anymore. Just don't show him ever again.
Yep.
Like I'm just like done with it. One thing on the coaching though, I think it was a good coaching job to get them to 4-2 after this point with Dak likely coming back next week.
Yep.
Again, it's 2 subpar teams in the Lions and the Bears. The fourth down call was the key to the game where nothing is going your way.
Yep.
You're down 14-0. You have a 4th and 1 on the Eagles side of the field. You don't challenge because you rush the play. And then instead of like falling forward, which the Eagles do about now 5 times a week, to the point that teams are just dive bombing over the top, like Leighton Vander Esch did tonight.
Yep.
And instead, the Cowboys do a QB rollout. It's the detail thing that we talk about with the Cardinals, and we talked about with Mike McCarthy before. And it's like, so I told you about the dryer thing with the squirrel.
Yes.
I finally got it taken care of. So like they messed it up, getting the squirrel out. They messed up delivering the dryer. They installed the dryer, messed that up, turned off the hot water. I'm like, wow, it's pretty crazy. Like how many people are just like have jobs, but they're like bad at their jobs. It's like crazy. Like how many times Mike McCarthy screws up like situations like that, like, which is pretty much his entire job.
I think this game was pretty much exactly what I expected it to be. You will be traveling this week. Are we recording together?
I'll have to talk about it.
Because I do have a guest that wanted to jump on. Who did not jump on with us the other day, who wrote a long apology letter that
Really
didn't come on. Yeah.
Wow.
And said be willing to hop on this week.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Is it who I think it is?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. I mean, yeah. I have no will against them to begin with.
That's nice. It rhymes with Ford.
Yes.
Okay.
Dunstan.
Yep. Yes.
We'll talk about it off air. You know how it goes.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah. But wow, just like what a weekend, man. And we might have another player of the week. Like CJ Gardner-Johnson had 2 interceptions. Like the player of the week streak might continue for 6 straight weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So Brian Broaddus, the Cowboys' #1 guy on all the radio stations. He was a scout, won a Super Bowl. He's great at his job. He was like, the one guy I'm targeting on that defense this year is him. He's been playing terrible, this and that, blah, blah, blah.
CJ?
CJ
Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, apparently he has the most missed tackles on the team and had given up half of their 6 touchdowns. He had given up 3. So, well, he said the one guy who you're going to target rather than Bradbury, Slay.
Well, that's fair. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I think part of that issue was they moved him back to the slot because Avonte Maddox was hurt. Avonte was back tonight, which helped. And then all of a sudden, he transitions back to safety. 2 interceptions tonight, did it after he hurt his hand. All right. They should just give us an honorary player of the week thing next week for week 6. I
guess maybe I shouldn't have went with the Ben DiNucci hat tonight for this game.
You should have.
I did, but
he would have been better than Cooper Rush.
The sidearm game.
Oh man. And we came a long way from that at least. If there's a silver lining, it's clearly these teams are pretty good, right?
Oh yeah. As I get an alert from ESPN on my phone right now. Tempers flare in Philly. Eagles Cowboys get into heated shoving match in the final minutes after Jason Kelce was slammed to the ground by Osa Digizua.
Yeah, first of all, Jason Kelce, that's the guy. That's the guy you're gonna dump on the ground like that.
Well, he did take his hand and push it into his face. So
he should do that. He should be allowed to do that. He's earned that. He's great. He's a legend in this city. His podcast actually looks really good with his brother.
Nope.
He should be allowed to break someone's neck and get away with it, if you ask me. But the fact that guy dropped him like that, he should serve time in Guantanamo Bay prison. That's how that works.
Well, my baby just rolled onto her stomach and is crying, so that's going to be my cue.
Well, listen, I don't have much more to say. I am ecstatic. What a weekend.
This is going to be the perfect ending.
Oh, I have a great ending too.
There's my night.
You want to know my ending? Here, I'll give it for you. I just want to say, end of the bender. What a weekend. I cannot believe it. This was awesome. This was one of the greatest Philly weekends of all time. I cannot believe it happened. And
now we really got kicked off YouTube. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I hate you all.
Go Birds. What a weekend.
Can't wait till you lose.
Maybe never.